Episode 9 of the Beardcaster. My name is Scott Sikora, and I am the Beardcaster. Welcome to another exciting adventure of the Beardcaster. My name is Scott Sikora, and once again, welcome to another interesting podcast that revolves around people with beards and mustaches, the community, all the cool things they do, all the events they're involved in, the charities they work with, and so on and so forth. So welcome once again. You can subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, whatever your podcatcher choice is. Even if it's Podcatcher, you can use that one. So go to all those selected sites and subscribe. That would be awesome. Share with your uncle, Eddie, who once had a cool mustache, but as he got older, he needed to shave it off to be more cool or whatever, so whatever. Okay, so I'm just going to cut right to the chase. Today, we're diving headfirst into this. The interview's a little longer than normal because the interviewee is a little bit more awesome than normal. Yeah, you're right. When you say it that way, you should automatically know who it is. And yes, it is indeed Santa Claus, Old St. Nick, Christopher Kringle, whatever you call him, Father Christmas. That is the guy that I cornered a few weeks ago and said, listen, you, me, we're going to talk. And I didn't even have to go to the North Pole. He came right to me. That's the most amazing part. I was enjoying a breakfast and this guy sits down next to me, orders breakfast, and I turn and look, and I'm like, holy shit, it's Santa Claus. And I knew it was him. So you're just going to have to listen to the interview. It's an awesome time. There was a lot of laughs had and a lot of really interesting information given in this interview with Santa. So like I said, please check it out and share it with all your friends because everyone needs to know some of these things that Santa shares. I mean, it's really a fine balance we are all playing between getting coal for Christmas or getting a PS4. I don't know. That's just the way the guy rolls. So please listen, please share. You know, the old rigmarole I give you every week. So just do all that cool shit. So this week, I am going to make an announcement in regards to an event that I am part of planning this summer. And the event that I am partially planning this summer is called the 5th Annual Great Lakes Regional Beard and Mustache Championships. And one of the cool things about this competition this year, well, number one, we are having a really awesome beard and mustache competition that everyone should come and check out. It's at the Cleveland Agora. But this year we picked a new recipient for our charity. So the charity that we picked this year, they're called Youth Challenge. Now, for those of you who don't know what Youth Challenge is, I'll give you a brief rundown of who they are, but I will also put a link to their website in my show notes. So if you're interested, you can go to my show notes at thebeardcaster.com, and there's fresh new links right up at the top of the toolbar that you can click on to go right to their page. Even clicking on Help a Stranger will take you directly to their donation page. So if you are feeling generous and you want to donate towards their charity, which I highly suggest, please do so. And then the other link, I put a direct link right to their website up so you can click on that. You can learn all about them. But I just want to give a brief overview real quick about who they are, what they are, and why we chose them. So this is what they write in their pamphlet. Youth Challenge brings together children with physical disabilities and youth volunteers who enrich each other's lives through one-on-one participation in adapted sports and recreational activities. Children with physical disabilities have unique challenges, but in most ways, they're just like every other kid. All children deserve a place where they can have fun, make friends, and just belong. It is also important for them to have experiences that pull them out of their comfort zones, encourage them to adapt, and give them opportunities to play and grow. The benefits of Youth Challenge programs go far beyond physical exercise. While building lasting friendships, children get to embrace their individual abilities and teen volunteers discover the joys of helping others. The experience builds confidence, self-esteem, and independence, which in turn leads to greater ambition and higher personal goals for both the participants and volunteers. Now, pardon me, sorry. They have over 170 children between the ages of 4 and 18 with physical impairments. And the impairments are such as cerebral palsy, spinal bifida, and a variety of other disabilities. And they all reside at home, their personal home with their parents, and they attend local schools. Youth Challenge helps over 450 teens between the ages of 12 and 18 that are trained seasonally by professionals and peers to work with the children with the physical disabilities. And they offer over 300 activities year-round with adaptive sports and recreational equipment and adjustments to suit each child's interests. And all of those programs and transportation is offered to those specific children for free. Over 95% of participants receive transportation from Youth Challenge fleet of accessible vans. 50% of all participants are between the ages of 8 and 13. Now, our event this year is partially a celebration of 50 years of the Cleveland Agora, where we are holding our event this year. Now, the Cleveland Agora is a staple in the music scene, Cleveland, Ohio. So you can check their website out. Once again, show notes. But the Youth Challenge is also celebrating an anniversary, 40 years. And they were founded in 1976 by Executive Director Mary Sue Tanis as an alternative summer recreation program for children with physical disabilities. So not only is it 50 years for the Agora, it's 40 years for Youth Challenge. So it's definitely a year to celebrate great places, good people, and good community services, and the children that we are all trying to help out. So, like I said, go to my show notes. There's links to all of this stuff there, the Youth Challenge, the Agora, and any information or questions you have, you can just go right to those links, and it'll take you directly to their stuff. So, but without further ado, I really want to get into the Santa Claus episode because there's nothing more than that excites me than giving to children. So just like Youth Challenge gives to the children out there, Santa Claus gives to the children too, and all he wants to do is make them happy, and I want to make you happy now, so I just want to bring you Santa Claus as fast as I possibly can, so that's why I'm rushing to this. So, and action. This morning I decided to go for breakfast at my favorite toast making establishment in Chardon called Morgan's on the Square. They are known for their barbecue, but they are also now the recipient of the 2016 Best Toast in Geauga County. You did not know that, did you, sir?
No, I did not.
Well, that's my announcement I'm making. I'm declaring that right now, that they are the winner of the 2016 Best Piece of Toast in Geauga County.
I do like their limp bacon, though.
Yes, it is good. So I came for breakfast this morning. Yes? You want to say something to the people?
We have one of our waitresses over here with a bun in the oven.
Yeah.
Which was unexpected, so she's going to name the kid Mistake.
Oh, geez. You can. Okay. So for those of you who don't know who I'm sitting and talking with right now, I was surprised to be joined for breakfast this morning by the one and only Easter Bunny. No?
Easter Bunny?
All right.
He's definitely second class compared to me.
Well, it is his holiday right now, and I know I don't want the Easter Bunny to steal your thunder because you are probably one of the most iconic superheroes in the holiday world. Or do you need a better introduction than that?
No, I am the one and only Santa Claus.
That's right, people. I have the one and only official 100% Santa Claus, Christopher Kringle. Right? Did I pronounce that correct?
Yes.
All right.
Or you can also call me...
not late for dinner?
Never late for dinner. But I have... The only real Santa Claus has a real beard, and I have a real beard.
Well, I will vouch for this jolly old man that he has probably one of the best beards that a Santa Claus could ever want or wish to have. But once again, I was stunned that I'm actually eating breakfast in Chardon, Ohio, and the actual Santa Claus walks right in and sits down next to me and has breakfast. What are the chances?
Pretty slim to none that I walked in, really. But
I know.
I happen to have a special place in my heart for Chardon, considering it is a snow capital of Geauga County. And I happen to like the people, and I make sure I come here once a year just to see all the children and see them smile. So I like coming down here once in a while for breakfast.
Well, that's awesome. Well, and every time I just happen to I catch a quick glimpse of you always at Morgan's on the Square. So you obviously like the food here.
Yes, I do very much, but I can only stop in for a short time because then I have to head back to the North Pole.
And plus, I think sometimes you show up to inspire the owner, Tom Ray, to really grow that beard out that he always kind of seems like he's working on.
Yeah, he lets it grow for about 4 or 5 days, and he gets tired and he shaves it off because he says it itches. But
well, he's what we call in the industry as a quitter.
Yeah, he makes great omelets, but when it comes to growing beard, he just doesn't seem to have the panache for what it takes.
All right. Okay, Santa Claus. So let's go back in history. Let's go back to where Santa Claus came from. I mean, I know most people would probably know the original story of Old Saint Nick, but what since I have the actual, as I'm pounding on the table here because I'm trying to iterate, this is very important information. What can the real Santa Claus tell us about where you came from?
I came out of the hearts of children when they were little from love. For when you look at a child in his eyes and you see the wonderment and the love and affection they have, that's how I was born. And I must tell you, though, when you're giving presents to Neanderthals and troglodytes, it's mighty hard to find something they like. Maybe a steak bone.
A stick with a point?
A stick with a point, a new club. You try to get them to use soap, but that didn't matter. Of course, it's pretty bad when you sit there and they're pulling off their knits and eating them.
Well, I guess going throughout the course of history, you kind of have to adapt of what you give to all the little girls and boys of whatever time period.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. In the Victorian era, a lot of little girls like dolls with porcelain faces. The boys always sort of liked anything that was wooden, like a train or a wagon. They didn't much care too much. Clothes were always popular because people needed clothes. It just depends what the child likes. Some children ask for nothing. Some children want everything. Some children you can give an orange to, and that makes them happy. It all depends upon the child. A happy child raised with love and affection turns definitely out to be a well-rounded adult, and that's what makes the world a better place, and that's why Santa Claus is here. So not so much that maybe they remember his face, but somewhere deep inside they remember the experience and they're happy. And if you can make them happy and they can keep that with them, then I've accomplished my job.
So did Santa Claus have a childhood?
Not really. My life was more or less watching other people. When I was younger, I did this and I did that. I did everything from muck out stalls to polish the king's boots. But I did a lot of observation of people. And I noticed that if just a little bit of kindness goes a long way. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how famous you are. It doesn't matter if they put a monument toward you. If you should pass this way but once, you just want people, the best thing they can say about you is, he was a nice person. That is the best thing you can do. And I always tried to be nice to people, and that's how I saw my role as Santa Claus. There was a gentleman when I was way, way, way long ago who used to leave gifts on the doors for children whose parents didn't have much money. And he enlisted me in his aid, and as he passed the job on to me, and I just took it one step farther And that's how Santa Claus was born.
So you hired reindeer. That's how you took it one step further?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I will tell you one secret.
Okay. Well,
You know how we get them to fly?
Here's an exclusive. Okay, go ahead.
Beans.
Beans.
Gives them lots of gas.
Oh. So apparently you have to wear a gas mask when you fly.
Well, that's why I have the beard with the gas mask.
So you're saying the beard helps filter out the...
Yes, it does.
Oh.
It does.
So, okay, so then, all right, so obviously we've come to the conclusion that Santa grew a beard because he's trying to protect his nose from the foul stench of the reindeer's gas.
Yes, that's true.
All right, but that's not the only reason Santa grew a beard, correct?
No.
All right, so let's get to the root of your beard, and I'm not talking about your beard hair roots. I'm talking about why Santa decided to be a facial-haired gentleman.
Well, Santa did not want to be recognized by anybody. So he grew a beard so he could just blend in with everybody. As many people a few hundred years ago had beards, nobody really shaved. There wasn't time for it in them days. So I grew a beard to just blend in, and I found that I could actually grow a pretty nice beard. And as I got older, it got whiter and whiter. And I decided not even to cut my hair and let it get longer. So then I walked around and everybody thought I was some old sage. But that was fine. And over the years, people just assumed, as they saw me once in a while going through the sky or seeing me in the city street, there's Santa Claus. There's the man who passes out gifts to the children.
So how is that hiding from people if people know who you are then?
Well, if I shave my beard off, nobody will recognize me.
All right.
But since I live at the North Pole...
Okay, so now we're talking climate. So now you need to have that beard to keep your face warm.
Yes, at the North Pole, its average temperature is about 50 below zero. With a wind chill, it could be 75 below zero.
So it is safe to say that you don't care for the elves, and that's why they don't have beards to keep them warm.
No, actually, the elves can't grow beards that well, so they just decide to shave.
Oh, okay.
So, but that's okay.
So they're cold then all the time.
Yeah, sometimes, but they're nice little minions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're little, so their blood's flowing faster.
Yes,
through
yes, they're short.
They're like little dogs.
They're closer to the ground, so the closer you get to the ground, the wind passes over them much easier.
Well, heat rises, but
Yes.
it would go over them. So, but they're getting the draft.
Yeah, but believe me, they're not starving.
All right.
They have nice hot. We have central air and central heat, so they're okay.
All right. Well, when would you need air conditioning up in the North Pole?
When it gets above 32 degrees, which is once in a blue moon on a nice sunny day. They're just used to they're used to the colder climate.
All right.
And being Santa Claus, of course, I don't really care for that warm of weather because I sweat terribly if it's 50 degrees outside.
The cold weather probably gets your blood flowing. You got to keep moving to keep going.
Yes, yes. I do much prefer cooler weather.
All right. So we've determined that the beard is a way to distinguish who you are. We've determined that the beard is there to keep you warm in the wintertime, or in the North Pole, pardon me. And we've distinguished that the Santa Claus beard is there to protect you from the stench of the exhaust from the reindeer.
Yes, that's true. But after a while, you can't even smell it because you get so used to it.
Oh, and probably the adrenaline going through you for delivering the toys. It's just it's constant motion of you just got to keep going and going, and you're just super excited to make the kids happy. So.
Yeah, when you're doing Mach 7, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I'm sure that the fumes just blow right over you.
Oh yeah, you're doing Mach setting, man. Especially when you roll up on a 757 and you slow down a little bit so they can see, and then you go by them. They don't tell anybody. Back at air traffic controller, we just saw Santa Claus going by.
Yeah, well, they could lose their job.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, a lot of these UFOs you see in the wintertime was Santa Claus going around the world checking on different places, and it's like, oh, that must be Santa Claus again. But they're not going to say that. Sometimes you'll say UFO, they're not going to say Santa Claus.
Well, it's a lot like around the 4th of July, everyone calling in UFO things around the 4th of July because they're seeing fireworks and all these Chinese lanterns floating around.
Right, and that was a big thing, them Chinese lanterns. I sent a bunch of them out. A lot of kids got them for Christmas. A lot of kids lit them around 4th of July. So then, unfortunately, the police departments get a lot of calls about fire in the sky.
So there you go. Santa Claus is promoting criminal activity. We we don't like that, Santa.
Well, hey, at my age, it's...
You're like Grandpa. You have your kids and you have a way with them, but then the grandparents are there to always spoil those little kids.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
All right. So, what is your opinion of the beard and mustache craze that's been going on for the past? I wouldn't even know how many years to put it, but obviously you've been aware of, because you're aware of everything. So, what are your feelings on the beard and mustache industry currently?
Well, the beard and mustache throughout the years has had its ups and downs. In the 1860s, 70s, a lot of people grew beards. Before that, people shaved. In Victorian England, some people had beards, mustaches. It depends. In the early 1900s in the United States, people just started shaving more. It's more almost like a fashion thing, but you'll always find people who have beards and like beards. Mine was just, I grew the beard, I was happy with it, but I've seen it shave. I know that the Tsar in Russia, for a fact, when he was there, he had all his men shaved his beards because in battle, a beard could be grabbed by your opponent and held and then strike you. So he had all his men shave their beards.
That's very interesting tidbit of information.
And also, too, depending how clean you are or not, if you do not shave your beard, you can get all kinds of little flying things that decide to take up space in that apartment upstairs. And you can get some lice living in your beard and some other little fly guys. So that's another reason to shave your beard if you're not clean. But it's been up and down through the centuries with people having beards or not. If you look at the Dutch, some of them had beards, some didn't.
Some of them have wooden shoes, some of them don't.
Well, wooden shoes, that's very uncomfortable on your arches.
Yeah.
I got a pair once for Christmas in 1209, and I'll tell you what, I didn't. I planted flowers in them.
Oh, well, and they probably gave you lots of blisters.
Yeah, they're just too rough because your feet sweat and then they sort of slide around on your feet.
They don't breathe.
No, they don't breathe. They're very uncomfortable. But they do make good tinder in the fireplace. If they get too oily and nasty, just throw them in there and you can.
Well, but then there you go. If you're going up and down these chimneys all nights long and one of them's lit and you're going down that chimney with those wooden shoes on, there you go. You're instant fireball.
Well, I wish people would clean the creosol out of their chimneys more, because I can't tell you how much black soot I get on my suit and how hard it is for them little elves with them little hands to get all them particles out of my suit.
Well, maybe you should start sending bills to people for cleaning their chimneys out. It's an extra service you provide.
We couldn't do that. That would be un-Santa Claus-like.
Yes, but you're also saving people from their houses burning down.
Yeah, that's because my suit is cleaning them out for them.
All right, so maybe you should disperse the cleaning bill amongst all of the different houses. I mean, literally, you'd be charging like a penny to each family.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's not bad. I never thought about that. I have to think about that.
Well, we can work on a business plan after this, so
okay.
I'll give you some extra ways to make a couple bucks in income. All right, so you were giving me a little bit of history or historical lessons about beards. Since you've lived for so long, at least over 25 years that I know of, what other historical beard facts do you have? Or have you noticed trends over the multiple centuries and decades of your spreading of cheer and goodness to all those children of the world?
Well, I can tell you that most Vikings had beards and long hair, and a part of that was part of their looks to strike fear into the Englanders. They did not, a lot of Englanders did not have beards. A lot of noblemen did not have beards. A lot of peasants did have beard. But when they saw the Northmen come in with the beards and the long hair and the locks, that struck a lot of fear into them.
So, okay, I don't mean to interrupt your story here. So Santa Claus coming down the chimney, that time of history, and a child sees you in their living room in the middle of the night, wouldn't that scare the crap out of them?
In England, yeah, but I try not to let the kids see me.
All right.
In Norway and other places where the Vikings were, you just fit right in. I mean, they gave some bodacious parties around Christmas time. You could just walk in there dressed as you want, and you look like everybody else. So, I'd sit down with Ragnar or Hogarth or something. We'd have some ale and stuff, and it was really great. Their type of mead would knock you off your feet.
Very good. Okay, so before I interrupted you, were talking about the Vikings and their beards and instilling fear upon their enemies.
Yes, and the Vikings never wore
underwear,
horned hats. No, they pretty much went commando, but they never wore horned hats. And they were excellent blade throwers. They could throw an axe 30, 40 foot like it was nothing.
So they could throw Wesley Snipes pretty far.
Oh, absolutely. Right. They had some Vikings who were called berserkers, who would put themselves into a trance where if they were hurt or wounded, it didn't affect them, and they pretty much would kill anything and everything that was in their way. And a lot of times they would be in the front line of attack.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they would.
Would they hide like daggers and stuff in their beards? Maybe.
No. They usually had a double-edged blade, or axe, I should say, or they had a sword, or they had a couple knives in their belt. But a lot of times they would strip down to the waist, and they would go forward and they would attack, and they were very good at what they did. So the Englanders, you have to remember, England was not one country. You had Northumbria, you had Mercia. You had all types of little fiefdoms that were all by small different kings. So they would go in there and they would attack. They would come up the river and they would attack along the shores and move inward, and they'd strike a lot of terror into the hearts of the Englanders. And it didn't matter if it was a castle or a monk's cat. I mean, it didn't matter what it was. They would take everything away, anything they could. So they really scared a lot of the Englanders.
Well, that time of history was really a bad name for beards then, for anyone who wore a beard, I would assume.
Yeah, the Vikings just basically
gave beards a bad name.
All had beards.
Oh, well, yeah. And now we celebrate them on TV with all the Viking shows and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's cool, once again. That's why I said the coolness of beards. And there you go. The Viking trend would probably not be popular right now if it wasn't for the beard trend going on.
No, men today have a hard time.
No, I don't think you understand what I said.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
I think that men today that I see have a hard time expressing their masculinity, so they grow a beard. It's one of the last things they can say, hey, look, I can grow a beard. And it's nice that an old tradition has come back to the forefront. And I think it's a very nice thing, because only the male, basically pretty much, unless there's an anomaly, can grow a beard. And I think it's a very nice part on male's part that they don't have to shave, because shaving is really not natural. A beard is natural. It wouldn't be there for no reason at all. So in my opinion, as Santa Claus, I think all men should grow a beard.
Well, that's going to go on the back of the CD, on the front page of the magazine. Santa endorses.
The longer the beard, the better.
All right. Okay, Santa, I have another question for you. Since you seem to be very culturally knowledgeable and have a lot of historical knowledge, and I'm having a very hard time scoring an Amish interview. All right. What and why?
The Amish, the Amish being the type of, there's the Amish,
the Mennonites,
and there's the Mennonites. The Amish are more strict. They originally came from Switzerland. That's where they started out, but they were persecuted.
Where the Swiss Army watch and Swiss cheese came from, right?
Yes. But the Amish were persecuted because of their beliefs in Switzerland. I think a lot of them, the persecution started in the 1500s, if I remember right. But you won't find any Amish in Europe. They were persecuted for their beliefs. One was that instead of being baptized at birth, you have to make the conscious decision as an adult to be baptized and join the church. And the Christians did not like that. So they were persecuted out, and a lot of them came slowly. They moved. They were in Germany too, and they came to the United States. The difference between the Amish and the Mennonites is that the Amish, they were originally called Anabaptists. That's what they were in Europe. But when they came here, they evolved into two groups. The Amish, which is more strict, no vehicles, no electricity, no modern conveniences. But the Mennonite were less strict. They allow stuff as vehicles and electricity. The Amish, the Anabaptists, are considered old order Amish. But they don't do things such as take pictures. They don't like their picture taken,
Because
really.
it captures their soul, right?
No, that's more the Indians worried about that.
Oh, okay.
The Amish is just like, so it's not part of their culture. To have an interview with them, you could possibly get one, but you'd have to really know one.
To ask the right questions, because
Asking the question. Yeah, you'd have to keep it. It would have to be straightforward and stuff, but there would be no pictures allowed to be taken.
All right. Okay, so basically where I was going with my question, and now what is the significance of the Amish beard?
Well, the Amish beard is once you are married, you are supposed to grow a beard. It's part of being a man, an adult, and you are now married. Women do not cut their hair either. They let their hair get very long. They've actually let it get below their waist. They can cut it when it gets too long, but their hair must not be showing. It's up underneath the hat.
And the men cannot trim their beards either, correct?
The men basically don't trim their beards unless it gets too long. They keep it as a certain length. They can have their beard very short if they want, or they could have it long. It pretty much depends what they want. But as long as they're married, they must have a beard. If you are not married, you have a clean-shaven face.
All right, now, when you're talking beard, we're talking from ear to ear, no mustache.
No mustache.
Okay, now, what's the signification of the Amish man who just has the hair directly on their chin?
There are some Amish men who have just a little, very small beard, like a soul patch. But it's really not.
Now, I was under the understanding that was for the men who were getting married, like the engaged or courting a woman, that they wore that style for a short period of time. Then once they got married, then they grew the rest of it.
They may. I myself have never seen that. As Santa, I've never seen it. I've only seen the ones with very short beards or regular beards. That's all I've ever seen.
Does Santa visit the Amish?
Oh yeah, sure. I know some. I know the Yutsies and the Kaufmans and the Millers.
Don't we all know the Millers?
Oh, everybody knows the Millers, And there's the let me see. There's the Troyers.
Okay, now what do the Amish?
There's the Hirschbergers.
What do they leave cookies and goat milk for Santa?
Well, not goat milk, but yes, they do. They do leave milk, and a lot of times their milk
gross?
is unpasteurized. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's unpasteurized milk is just fine, like anything else.
Yeah,
Well, it's not so bad. I mean, it's not like it's got worms in it or anything.
But we don't know. But then again, you've survived all these years. Santa survived all these years. I'm sure eating lots of probably unsavory cookies that were probably.
I've had a few legs of lamb that fell in the dirt, and you just pick it up and knock off the dirt and eat it. I mean, hey, that's how it was back then.
Well, but now you have to consume so many cookies and milk to pretty much fuel yourself to go at literally 1,000,000 miles an hour to get through one night of delivering toys to all the children all over the world.
Yeah, that's my waist is 56 degrees. I'm sorry, 56.
Oh, he's Santa's a hoot. Okay, so any other historically cool beard stories that you can share that you can think of off the top of your head?
Well, I can tell you that some of our greatest intellectuals had beards. John Muir had a beard. Carl Jung had a beard. Dr. Hynek, an outstanding UFOologist, had a beard.
Awesome.
Stanton Friedman has a beard. Even Einstein, I think, had a beard for a while.
Now, Tesla had just a mustache, though.
Yeah, Tesla had a mustache.
What do you think he was trying to tell us by going against the norm of having a beard at that time?
I think Tesla was a very deep thinker who was into himself, and he didn't want the beard in his way. He was very poised on being a deep thinker, and he wanted to keep everything cut and clean and very sharp and conservative in his own way.
Well, yeah, he was a very, like, if you look at all old pictures of him, he was very manicured man, like very neat and sharp looking. And that mustache really added, I mean, you see pictures of him like right before he died, and he's clean shaven. Yeah. He just looks like an old man, but in his earlier years, like, that mustache added a very distinct look to him.
If I remember right, I think he worked for Thomas Edison at first.
That is correct.
But he did not like Edison stuff, and then I think he worked with Westinghouse later, but Edison did not like him at all because he wanted to give free current around the world. There's even a theory that the 1908 explosion in Russia that some people say is a meteorite, where it blew over the woods. Some people think that Tesla was trying one of his tests.
The death ray?
Not really so much as a death ray as transferring electrical current into the atmosphere to see how far it could go, and that it traveled halfway around the planet and hit the forest. But, that's never been proven.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But it's just a thought.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know. A lot of things are possible.
So in that time of when Edison and Tesla were having their little dispute, now, did you leave Edison coal for Christmas?
Yeah, pretty much. He was... Edison takes a lot of credit for stuff that he didn't do. People forget that Edison had a whole bunch of researchers working for him.
Well, and that's what Tesla was. He was a hired guy to help him.
Except Tesla was smarter than Edison.
So by you giving Edison coal for Christmas, I'm sure he found a way to have that coal turned into energy that he was able to sell to the people.
Yeah, he invested in the coal companies.
So way to go, Santa.
Yeah, he invested in the coal companies. He threw it in his fire pit. That's all. There you go.
See, you're part of the problem of why we're paying money for natural resources. Because it all started with you giving coal to Thomas Edison.
I guess it did, but I tell you what, I sure like...
Tom has something to say.
I have a very serious question.
Yes.
Why can all of us grow a beard, but yet we cannot grow hair on our heads? Ponder that one.
Oh, that all has to do with genetics and your amount of
alien DNA.
Yeah, that too. Were you taken?
I must have been.
Usually they go in through the navel. Yeah. That way you can't see it.
And then well, it has to do with your number one, genetics has something to do with it, but it also has a lot to do with the amount of testosterone that your body produces.
That's true, but I'll tell you what. One time they wanted to take Santa one night. I'm traveling around the world, and these pesky little UFO guys are flying after me. But I can go faster. But you know what it's like to try to go when they're following you around the Earth, and the UFO guys are trying to beam you in. I mean, it gets really irritating.
Oh, I could imagine.
So I finally got so mad I was throwing presents out the back at them.
Well, they like presents too.
Yeah, well, their type of presents are different. They're not getting none of my body parts.
Oh. But maybe they're not after your body parts. Maybe they know you're like the ultimate specimen. And
well, they can't have my DNA either.
Yeah, because then they start cloning like Santas. Yeah. They'll have Nordic Santas.
Well, I don't want a Nordic Santa with green beard.
Yeah.
And there's only one Santa, and that's it right here.
Okay, so what's Santa's take on these quote unquote mall Santas with their fake beards and their fake? I know they're promoting fakeness.
They're sad. They're sad. There's no comparison between having a real beard and a fake beard. Those polyurethane beards are for the birds. Those things are only good for making nests for the robins. That's all they're for.
And aren't they very flammable?
Yes, they're very flammable.
Okay, so Santas are dangerous with fake beards are extremely dangerous for your children. So don't let your kids sit on a Santa's lap with a fake beard because he is dangerous and flammable, and your child might go up into a fire.
Yeah, and them guys are just, half of them are in the bag anyways when they're sitting there because they've had so many kids or that. They don't have what it takes to be real Santa. They're just there for the money. I'm there to make children and people happy. It warms Santa's heart when he gets out of his sleigh, say at the Chardon Square Association. They have it once a year in November when I get out and all them people smile and everybody yells, "Merry Christmas, Santa." That just warms my heart. It knows that Santa's doing a good job. It doesn't matter who the man is. they're looking to meet Santa, and that's my whole job, is to make people happy.
Well, I remember this past year when Santa was going around and greeting all the children, and at that time there was a line of about 46,000 kids that were coming outside of the building, wrapped around Chardon Square 18 times, and we're like, there's no way we're going to be able to get to Santa tonight. So we decided to come over to where we're at now, Morgan's. We had dinner. We sat here, we watched all these kids go through the line, and then we decided, and it was getting really, really late, so we're like, all right, well, we'll go over and we'll see if we can at least get a look at Santa. So we were the last people in line, and the line was going through real quick, and we were able to see Santa, and Santa was just as amazing for us as I'm sure he was for the first kid, for the 18,000th kid, for the 36,438th kid, and then probably for the 46,832nd kid. I mean, he gave each kid the same amount of love, the same amount of, you're just amazing.
Santa always gives time to children. There is no cutoff. I will give each child all the amount of time he needs, especially special needs children. Mm-hmm. I had a child come through who had shunts on the side of her head because she had cochlear implants so she could hear. And I realized when I seen that child, it would be hard for her. So I talked to her, and I looked her in the face because I knew she could read some lips. And I asked her, I said, how are your implants doing? Are they doing quite well? And she shook her head, yeah, I can hear, but I said, that's wonderful. And I explained to her, because you have implants, you're a little different. You're special. But I said, it's nice to be special. And I said, I'm very glad that they're working for you. So I talked a few more minutes. I gave her a small thing. I happened to have one of my Christmas marbles with me, and I gave her one for Christmas. So she wandered over, and she was talking to my elves. And the mother comes up to me and says, thank you for mentioning that instead of ignoring it. And I said, well, that's part of Santa's job. You don't ignore stuff. If you see something that's different, you bring it up. And the mother thought that was nice, but I explained that's how Santa is all the time. We don't deviate. We don't care if you can't talk, if you can't hear, if you have to use sign language. We will find a way to talk to the child. We do not treat anybody. You are all, to Santa, you are all children, so if you have a little bit of a problem, that's okay. But that's just how Santa is. Santa wants every child to feel special and to feel loved. And Santa always tells the children, if one's feeling bad, doesn't matter how old you get, doesn't matter where you go, Santa always has a special place in his heart for you, and Santa never, ever will forget you.
That's really great. And I know in my experiences with you over the past few years of going to breakfasts with Santa and stuff, you've been more than kind and more than generous to my family, my son, and you've really instilled a feeling of Christmas spirit in our son that I don't think was there before. And for him to actually meet the real Santa Claus, for him to actually eat breakfast with the real Santa Claus, for Santa to remember his name, know things about him, it makes, as a parent, it makes me feel like just so thankful that, we're able to share Santa Claus. My God, he comes to Chardon, Ohio, like the Santa Claus, and he eats at the same restaurant my family does. We see him around every now and then. He knows who we are. He knows who everyone is, and he'll take time to come over and say hi, give little presents and stuff. In fact, this was in mid-July. We come home one day from something, and Santa had actually left a special surprise on our front step, because we have a house alarm now, and so he's not allowed in. The only day we leave it off is December 25th, so any other time he can't get into the house. But Santa had left, and it was funny. He left a bunch of rocks on our front doorstep. And I'm like looking at these going, hey, what is this? And then I'm like thinking, wait a minute. We just saw Santa a few weeks ago, and we were talking about fossils. Next thing we know, we got these nice, beautiful rocks on our front doorstep that have all these fossils in them. And I mean, that just goes to show how much detail Santa Claus pays attention to people and listens to what they like. And I think like a lot of people, and giving back to Santa. I think that should be the message for 2016. Let's start this campaign. Give back to Santa.
Well, Santa treats all children the same. He doesn't. Nobody gets singled out, really. Everybody gets the same amount of love, unless they're special needs, and I have to give them more attention because a lot of times special needs doesn't get the attention that a more healthier child gets.
Oh, absolutely.
So
that's
Santa
fair.
has to make sure, if he can, that all children are happy so that as they grow older, they have a nice memory of Christmas. And that's all what it's about. It's just being nice. It's like my old friend George once said. He said,
George Costanza?
Oh, no, this is a different George. This is George the elf.
Oh.
And in fact, he lived to be like 203 years old, and he passed away. But anyways, George said, you only go by once. And he said, I want people to remember that I plucked the thistle, planted a flower where I thought it would grow, and just that if they remember me as a nice person, he said, I couldn't have accomplished anything more than that. Because he said, kindness will always stand the test of time. Doesn't matter how much money you give. Doesn't someone that puts a name on your building and goes, kindness lasts forever. And that's what I like to instill in children and people is just be nice to one another. That's why, and it makes the world such a special place.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's nothing worse than going somewhere and everyone's just crabby and poopy to you, and it's like, why?
Well, yeah, you get that from some of my waitresses once in a while.
Yeah.
But I can't help that because some of the waitresses I deal with are pregnant all the time. So.
Oh.
But I understand that.
Well, I also know too that it's tough to. Oh, my wrist is like the circulation's getting cut off here. Just bad attitudes just tend to permeate like all around, and having a good attitude, like the spreading of goodness and kindness and the message of just being positive and happy. It's very. What's the word I'm looking for, Santa?
Just stop and smell the roses. It's an old saying, but it is.
Infectious, that's the word I'm looking for.
Just be nice to each other. That's all it is.
All right. Okay, so let me go a little different direction here now, Santa. Okay, between the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, and Santa Claus, would you say you are more popular because you have a beard?
Oh, absolutely. But the Tooth Fairy
is a jerk. Oh,
he just wants the teeth because he likes to suck the enamel off them. That's all he wants.
No, that's just disgusting. Wow,
well,
I can't believe Santa went there.
Yeah, well, that's all. The Tooth Fairy's like to me.
So now the next time my child loses a tooth, I'll be like, okay, you're going to leave that tooth under your pillow for that enamel sucker.
I think you ought to dip the thing in some antifreeze, let it dry, then put it out there for him.
Maybe they're after the tartar, the tartar.
No, he likes to suck the enamel off him. That's all it is.
Oh, jeez.
The chiseler.
Well, but then you got the Easter Bunny who's got a little bit of hair on his chin.
Yeah, well, that's okay. He can't help that. The Easter Bunny. I mean, the Easter Bunny's the Easter Bunny. He's a good guy. I mean, whoever met a nasty bunny? Of course, I did watch that movie Night of the Lepkes, and that was where the rabbits were running amok and attacking people.
Are they blood-sucking rabbits?
Yeah, that was an interesting movie. Night of the Lepkes or Lepkes. It was like giant rabbits. You can Google it up and find it at IMDb.
All right. What was the most? This is a two question. Okay. How many children asked for a beard or mustache for Christmas, and what was the most popular gift asked for in 2015?
Unfortunately, no children asked for a beard or mustache or beard oil. It seems the most popular gift in 2016 was Legos, which I thought was nice because with Legos, they can use their mind to build different things, and they're using critical thinking, and I like that.
Well, that's cool. Oh, yeah. Well, here's another one for you, though, but some of the Lego figures have mustaches and or beards on them, so technically, indirectly, children were asking for beards and mustaches.
Well, I'm fine with that. I mean, I think that's fine.
I didn't mean to correct you on that
that's
one.
Quite all right. I think that's fine. Every day's a learning experience.
Well, I know. We're all here to learn something new every day.
Every day I wake up. I
sorry.
see something new.
And I'm sorry I had to school Santa on that
That's
one.
okay.
It's all
That's okay.
Now I'll probably get coal for Christmas.
No, you won't get coal.
All right.
I'll drop you off some halite.
Oh, yes. More rocks. Santa's good with the rocks.
Do you know what halite is?
It is a type of flashlight.
No, it's salt.
Oh,
It's the scientific name for salt. And we have 2 big mines under Lake Erie.
oh. Yeah. Speaking of 2 big salt mines under
Yes.
Lake Erie, apparently what I've heard and read is that is the secret underground UFO base. That's where they store them.
I didn't think anybody knew about that.
Well, I mean,
I've heard that before. Well, that's why they talk about the UFOs that come out of Lake Erie.
Yeah.
Because the average depth of Lake Erie is only 60 feet.
it's the shallowest of all the Great
Yes,
Lakes.
it's the shallowest. That's why you get such a...
And I hear it's the shallowest of all oceans, too, in the world.
Well, it's not considered an ocean.
I know, but it's not. But it is the shallowest of all.
It is the shallowest. That's why it gets so choppy and the waves are so bad. That's why Lake Erie's like that. Now, Superior's, I think the average depth of Superior is like 250 feet. But I'm not sure. That you'd have to be checking out.
All right. Well, Santa has the best part about Santa is he's like a walking encyclopedia. He knows a little bit about everything and a lot about a lot of things. So that's why once Santa walked in this morning, and I'm like, oh my God, Santa, I got to talk to you. I had to like run home really quickly to get all my recording gear so I could record a conversation with Santa.
That's okay. Santa likes people.
Well-
You can't be Santa if you don't like people.
Well, unless you're a fake Santa.
Oh, no. We ain't fake. I say a pox on all them fake Santas.
Well, I'm not saying you're a fake Santa. I was just implying that all
Yes.
the other Santas are fake.
Yes,
Trying to
they are.
steal your thunder. Bunch of bitches. I said that, not Santa, so you don't have to quote him on that one. That's me saying that. All right, Santa, what do you think? Okay, what do you think is going to be the popular Christmas gift asking for 2016? I will say probably not mustaches and beards for children, but what's your foresight onto this year, and what are the elves already gearing up?
The elves are working on a lot of Hot Wheels this year.
All right.
A lot of young boys seem to like Hot Wheels. The girls seem still to like a lot of dolls, like the Bratz and stuff like that.
Littlest Pet Shop.
Yeah, unicorns. I don't think Furbies are going to come back, but they seem to like a lot of dolls, the more contemporary dolls.
All right.
They're not, and a few of them still like Barbie, but Barbie isn't as popular. But Barbie is still a mainstay of the industry.
What do you think I know you tend to lean more towards talking to children over the holiday and asking them what they want for Christmas. Now let's pose that same question I did earlier. The adults that you meet, what do they seem like they are looking for from Santa for Christmas? What is a general adult's Christmas wish list?
Generally, it's not monetary. It's just...
Alcohol?
No, they want peace of mind.
Oh.
They want peace of mind. And I tell them that look around at what you already have. If you have a job, if you have family and friends, you have the greatest gift in the entire world. Walk outside, look at that tree, touch the bark. It's a living thing. Look at this. You live on this planet where this beautiful living planet. Go out to the woods. Sit there. Just listen. And you can hear the trees talk. I tell them they want to learn to relax, but they're so caught up in their lives of making money and working so hard and of a want for this and that they forget what's really special.
All the things that are right in front of them.
That's it. They forget that. But a lot of them just want, oh, Santa, I want to learn, I work so hard, this and that. Like, it's not about trying to keep up with the neighbors. It's about
keeping up with the
are.
Kardashians, because that's the standard of today.
Yeah, I should have never gave her all that fill.
Well, thank you, Santa. Way to go. Another thing that you failed on. Go Thomas Edison, then you're giving the Kardashian stuff.
Well, I'm sorry, that thing of popping that champagne cork on her ass was like, yeah, okay, that's just way too much booty for me.
Yeah, and you heard it here. Santa said so. Okay, Mr. Santa Claus, I guess we can wrap this up now. Do you have a website? That's kind of funny, but
no.
SantaClaus.com? We'll just throw one out there.
No, usually I just go through. If I want to, I can get in touch with what is it, Beard Crashers?
What is that, a website?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure. I haven't been on the web in that long. I'm always so busy. If I want, I can just get a hold of my friend Scott, but I really don't have a website. But I do know that Antiques on the Square in Chardon wants me to put my picture on there in my uniform.
All right.
So,
well, there will be a mailbox up on Chardon Square, or any
Yes.
neighborhood worldwide that you put a letter in, and it'll go right to Santa.
Mailbox, and Santa will get it.
Yeah, Santa's still not that technically advanced with email, so
no,
we're still old-fashioned. Put it in the mailbox, and once that technology wears out, then he will definitely go to email.
Look, Santa just got a smartphone last year, and that took him 6 months to learn. You know, I'm used to scribbling on paper, and in the old days, we were writing on rocks with chalk. You know how much slate builds up when you got all these names and orders?
Yeah, well, then you're carrying around 2 tons of
That's
slate.
A lot of rock.
Jeez. All right, Santa, well, thank you so very much. We're actually, since we've just had touched upon the UFO topic a little bit, later this year I'm going to have to mail Santa Claus to meet him up again, but there I'm going to do the 2016 UFO Bearded Men catch-up, and I'll have Santa Claus on as my guest, so him and I can discuss the candidates for this year. So, since it was really shocking to me how much Santa Claus knew about UFOs and stuff. So
yeah, and to all your friends out there, listen, I did meet Dr. Hynek in person and talk to him. He was a really nice guy, and I was quite impressed by his knowledge.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah, we're really sorry he's gone even today.
Yeah, he would have definitely had a lot more insight nowadays if he wouldn't have passed away. But I'm sure a lot of you beard guys don't know who J. Allen Hynek is, but a lot of you UFO guys will. So we'll post some show notes stuff, and you guys can check that out on your own time and learn all about the importance of J. Allen Hynek in the UFO scene in the 60s and 70s. So, all right, Santa. Well, thank you very much. We'll catch up with you this summer, and keep getting plump and happy and getting ready for Christmas this year.
Oh, I'm plump, all right. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. And cut. Thank you so much, Santa, for that awesome interview. Oh, that was like a dream come true. That's probably any kid's dream come true, to sit down and actually have breakfast with Santa Claus and get some of the inside scoops as to why Santa is Santa and what he thinks about communism. Who would have thought that that's the way he deals with it? I never would have. So Santa works in weird ways. So once again, I'd like to thank Santa Claus for today's episode, because without him, this episode would not be here. It would just be me babbling about a bunch of nothing. But I'd also like to thank Waffen de Whisker Oil for being super awesome. A great company, great sponsor, providing me with things I need to do my show. So thank you, Matt and Whisker Oil. Once again, you can check out show notes. There'll be a link directly to that. I'd also like to do a couple shout outs, because there's been a lot of cool stuff happening this week, and it's been like an explosion on Twitter. And I'm not a big Twitter guy, but I'm starting to get hooked on it. But there's a really awesome dude from out in California. His name's Brandon King, and this is his second shout out this week on a different podcast. So earlier this week, Drunkle Dan from the Drunken Beardsman podcast did a shout out to him, and Dan read one of my articles on his podcast this week, and thank you so much. Once again, check out the Drunken Beardsman podcast. There'll be a link in my show notes afterwards. But anyways, Brandon, he's a big follower of both of our podcasts and great supporter, just messaging back and forth. I mean, I've been meeting so many awesome people via the internet, in the bearding community that are just, they have such great stories and are very inspirational and very, very complimentary and supportive of what we're doing out here. Now, I've always wanted to do a podcast, and I've pecked away at it for years and years and years, and finally I've committed to it. So it's great to see that I'm actually connecting with someone. I mean, the podcast is growing slowly over the weeks, and it's making me happy because I'm getting feedback from really awesome people, and it's a lot of fun to be communicating with people, learning things, and it's just building more experience for me, and I love that. So thank you to Brandon King. You can find him on Twitter at DesertChurro716. Look him up, message him, be like, hey dude, you're awesome. You got a beard. We're all cool. Whatever. Check him out. Once again, check out the Drunken Beardsman podcast. I'll put a link in my show notes, whatever you need to do. And that's pretty much it for today. I encourage all of you to go to iTunes, to Stitcher, and subscribe, post a review if you want. That'd be even cooler. Apparently, I hear all that stuff helps your podcast out. But, if that's not your thing, that's cool. Just tell your friend Billy down the street, be like, hey man, check this podcast out. It's really cool. Even if you don't think it's cool. That was me sneezing. And I'm not going to edit that out because that's the real shit that you people need to hear. Me sneezing. So hopefully someone out there actually was like Snorgle Flats and gets that joke. So on you. All right. Thank you once again for everyone checking this out. Thank you. Thank you. It's been awesome. The feedback has been awesome. And more super cool episodes are planned for the future, so please check back to thebeardcaster.com for more information, and I am out of here.